All right, so you probably watched my two previous videos to now about becoming a builder when you're a subcontractor. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is staff. You kind of think, well, can I run a building company by myself? You probably could, and you'd be outsourcing and subcontracting everything out. Now, I personally didn't do things that way, and it worked for me. Now, I do build in Australia, so if you're watching from overseas, this may or may not be applicable to you. But in Australia, when you employ staff, you would either employ them full-time or part-time, or you've got the opportunity of subcontractors. Now, the rules in Australia have changed substantially, and when a subcontractor works for you for more than a percentage of time, they're actually deemed an employee, and you can be up to having to pay for certain things like workers' compensation and holidays and a whole heap of things. And I personally like having full-time staff. It is a big commitment, but making a commitment to be a builder is a big commitment. So it's not to be taken lightly. What I do like about having full-time staff is that when you have them, you can actually make sure that they're there on time, whereas a subcontractor, you know what, you're kind of in their hands a little bit and they're not guaranteed to turn up all the time. So having someone who works for you on wages and having someone reliable is really good. And also having someone that is young. I don't think you should start with guys that are older than yourself. I think that it's a good idea to actually have apprentices that work for carpenters. And if you have come from a trade background, you might have been bricklayer, carpenter, roofer. I do hope that you had apprentices, because apprentices learn the way you do business. And then when they understand how you do business, understand you, they also project that through to your customers, and therefore you have a unified approach to construction on a project. I also have to say that your staff on site should not be talking to the clients. Sure, be polite. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Nice to meet you. But I do not want anyone talking to my customers other than me and whoever my nominated supervisor is and who I'd have in the office. So let's look at that. How many people do I require? I require someone in the office. You're going to be busy, really busy. So, and the worst thing about being busy, sometimes you can get frustrated, and this hair is not grey because I dyed it silver, right? So at the end of the day, when you're starting to get phone calls all day while you're busy trying to solve issues or sort out quotes or whatever it is, you don't want to be distracted. So the first point of call should really be someone in your office. Now, it could be your partner. However, living with someone with you work with can be difficult. So I recommend at least having somebody who has come from the industry, might have a year or two's experience, but is someone who knows how to type is very, very handy, right? And have them answer the phone and take calls. Like, to start, they might not know what they're talking about, but as you go on, in the next 6 months, they'll start to understand how to deal with certain situations and have them contact you. Always make the time to answer their calls. Don't make them feel bad about calling you, right? Build them up. Give them fuel cards, give them phones, give them whatever you require to keep them. You don't want short-term staff when you're running a building company, because turning over staff means more training. It means making sure that people understand what you need. When I started employing people, my goal was to have them to work for me for as many years as I could, which means paying them properly, paying them on time, being honest with them, and all of these type of things. Integrity, it shines through in your business, and you really need to have it. And if you're the kind of person who likes to pull the wool, you'll get found out quick smart. So on your bike, Mike, we don't want builders like that in the industry. You've got to have integrity, you've got to be honest about what you do, and more importantly, you've got to do a bloody good job. When you do a good job, your customers will tell their friends. When customers have friends around, and you have a builder turns up and says, wow, who did this job? They will also tell other people. So I used to think of other builders as competitors, but that's not true, because there's a multitude of different types of builders. Now, if you're in the residential industry and you're just doing extensions, renovations, a new home builder doesn't want your work. They'll probably recommend you because their interest is new homes. Now, if you're a new home builder, you don't want to do renovation work 9 times out of 10. However, if you start in renovation, it's probably the hardest to start in, because you have to work with existing, and it's very difficult to quote. So you do charge a lot more for renovation work than you do for new homes. So if you ever built new homes, or you come from a new home industry and you jump into the renovation, extension, remodel industry, it wouldn't surprise me if it's double the price per square. Now, just one last thing on talking per square. Never ever quote a job on square meter. If someone comes to you and says, hey, or said to me, Andrew, how much do you charge a square meter? I go, I don't charge a square meter. Because floor space is impossible to quote a job from. You can get a really, really, really broad indication of cost. However, you'll find if a customer comes to you and says, how much do you charge per square meter of floor area? Times it by 3, because it's how long's a piece of string, how much does it cost to build a bridge, how long is it going to take to drive to Timbuktu? Who bloody knows? Don't quote on a square meter. You actually need to quote as per the job. And you need software to do that. And if you want to find out more about software, you can have a look at some of the PlusSpec videos about software we created. But my main point of today is to ensure that you're armed and have a good understanding of what's involved in being a builder. And it isn't easy, but it is a very rewarding job. And there's a lot of job satisfaction for you and your staff if you do a great job, because you'll find that customers will pay you more per home, per project, per everything, that you can actually go and comfortably say, hey, I'm an expensive builder, but you get what you pay for. And when you do that, you'll start to get customers who pay the right money for the right job. Anyway, guys, that's my tip for today. If you've got any questions, ask them below. If I'm on a break, which I am going into a Christmas break now, I'll answer if I can. But you know what? Any questions, I will get to them. All right, guys, cheers.